What's going on, Conscious Crew? Your favorite breakdown commentator. Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform. Hope you guys are doing well. I know I don't sleep. I am a content creating machine at this point. So before we even get into the shenanigans of it all, you guys know what you guys can do, which is first and foremost, thumbs up the video, up. We need all the likes. At this point, I be going live every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and I don't give my notification cycles time to recalibrate. So the only way that we can make up for that is by definitely smashing the like button. So whether you are part of the Replay Gang, or you're actively in these streets with me in real time, or you are a Bush baby, please run the likes up. It's free 99. I'm going to need all of that. Also, speaking of free 99, if you guys love the work ethic of the King and you want to keep the lights on around her, you can always donate to the Kingdom, courtesy of Cash App, $Consciouztv, and or PayPal.me/Consciouztv. Consciouztv spelled just how it is here on the platform. I thank you all in advance. Also, make sure that you have your notification bell set to all so that you never miss a day or hour when the King is in fact Kangin', okay? You're going to want to definitely be plugged in to YouTube's raggedy notification system, even though it barely damn work. So even when you don't get notified, definitely at this point, you can check the channel manually, because I'm practically going to have some type of content up, whether it's a live, whether it's a pre-recorded video, or whether there's something going on the community wall. Last but not least, please share the stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Snapchat, your MySpace, your Facebook, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you in fact lay the link, babies. Just let them whores know that we're out, we're live, and we're certainly in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, Conscious Crew, baby? The baby father's already throwing coin on their baby daddy. I ain't even got in here good. Shout out to my baby father, Steven, for the nasty piece of child support check, who says, for a Sunday service collection plate. Thank you, baby father. Once again, you guys, all donation, email, Patreon, and Instagram handles are in the description box, and everything is also scrolling on the ticker down below. Now, before we get into the thick of it, you guys, also, me and the Bubs to God came through in the wee hours of the night and decided to do a last-minute improv live stream, which was a review of Kim Burrell's recent sit-down with no other than Jamal Infidelity Bryant, okay? So if you guys missed that live stream, definitely get into that click in the view and thumbs up, and make sure that you guys subscribe and follow Bubs to God on his Instagram and his YouTube. Also, let me go ahead and speak to the Conscious Crew in the building. We got breaking news. You guys, please thumbs up. Hey, San. What's going on, Taz? Hey, both of my sins. What's going on, Keita? Hey, Tamika. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Tam. Hey, Britt. What's going on, Angel? Hey, the baby. What's going on, Bonnie? Hey, Apple. What's going on, Karen? Hey, Sherry. What's going on, Mel NYC? Hey, boo. What's going on, Nicole? Hey, Uda on the go. What's going on, Dan? Hey, y'all. Hey, Arts. Hey, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into the breaking news, girl. It's a lot going on in the Black church sector. We're also going to have a little bit of a conversation about T.D. Jakes and this lawsuit and the dynamics around it as well. But if you guys didn't know, because none of y'all asses are saved and sanctified and was not in church where you need to be, Bishop T.D. Jakes made the formal announcement that he was officially stepping down as the lead pastor of the Potty Porty House, girl. And he is handing over the torch to his daughter and son-in-law. Courtesy of Baller Alert, T.D. Jakes announces that he is stepping down as lead pastor of the Potter's House. Bishop T.D. Jakes has announced that he is stepping down as lead pastor of the MAGA church he founded. In an emotional moment this Sunday at the Potter's House in Dallas, Jakes revealed that leadership will pass to his daughter and son-in-law, Pastor Sarah Jake Roberts and Torrey Roberts. Quote, "You have been faithful to God and you have been faithful to me," Jakes told the congregation, his voice thick with emotion, and probably fatback and balagna too. Quote, "I'm so grateful." Sarah Jake Roberts tearfully responded, "I'm grateful. I'm honored as your daughter. I am so happy that you're gone and I can finally get my full 15 minutes, Dad." The transition comes just months after Jake suffered a massive heart attack during a sermon in November, my personal birthday month. Shout out to all the Scorpios and my Sagittarius bitches. He later told the Today Show that doctors said if he'd arrived at the hospital just 5 minutes later, he would have died. Quote, "I cannot afford, especially after November, to risk something happening to me. And you be sheep without a shepherd," Jakes explained to the congregation. Although church leaders said the secession plan had been years in the making, members expressed a mixed sadness and hope. Quote, "I was so sad. It's hard to replace an icon like Bishop," said longtime member Patrick Moore. "It's actually impossible to do that. So very sad." Still Moore said, quote, "Transition is always tough in anything we do, but it's still an exciting time too." Jakes, who founded the Potter's House in 1996, will remain chairman of the church's board and continuing serving as its spiritual overseer. Okay, so Jakes, baby, is going to definitely stay behind the scenes, being the CEO of the Potter's House and making sure that them kids ahead don't crash and burn his shit on the front end, okay? So he will be in the background, even if he's going to be pooching through on his scooter, okay? I'm sure he's also going to, occasionally speak on special occasions, girl, Thanksgiving, Christmases, Hanukkah, Easter, New Year's, all the things, but he is stepping down. Now, we also have a clip of his thick tongue emotional announcement from this morning as well. Check this out, courtesy of the Jasmine Brand.
I started talking to Pastor Torrey and Pastor Sarah because I did not want all that I had spent my life and your life and our lives building to get old and go with us. And even though she was busy doing Woman Evolved and he was busy pastoring One LA, about 4 years ago, they moved out here just in time for COVID. I talked to the board because I was concerned. I have seen too many men build something and stay so long that they kill what they build. Now, there's some other things that I'm assigned to do, both here and outside. But I cannot afford, especially after November, to risk something happening to me and you be sheep without a shepherd. I cannot afford to let all the work of all the saints living and dead to hold this so tight, so long that I wither away. So I'm suggesting to you, I'm recommending to you that you receive Pastor Torrey and Pastor Sarah Come on. This is legacy. Not because they're kin, but because they're the kind. They've immersed themselves into the DNA of this church for years. Sit quiet, preach. What you didn't know from November forward, they've been running the church anyway. Now, they're not meant to replace me because nobody can. But if they step into this position, they may extend me. There's some things I want to do in the community before I get too old to do it. And the clock is ticking. There's some ways that I want to prepare us for the days ahead that I can't do it completely from the pulpit. Every now and then I think they'll let me preach, but there's some work in the vineyard that needs to be done. Just like they can't be me, I can't be them. I came to plant. I think I planted pretty good. I'm thinking probably by the church anniversary, we're going to formalize. But I wanted to introduce to you your pastors.
Come on, Michelle and Obama. Come on, you gotta push on through, Michelle and Obama. All right, girl, that was the longest 3 minutes of my life. Damn, was it ever gonna be over? Baby, it's a lot of things going on. But first and foremost, is it just me? But there's something about organ church music that just really triggers me up. Like, it just activates all of the ancestors who are lodged into my cellular memory. When they start to banging on them damn keys, baby, I just be feeling so damn downtrodden and oversized and big back and like my life is just dragging along and I got bad knees and my damn blood sugar plummets, baby. Baby, I don't understand how y'all able to just, girl, I don't know what y'all be listening to. It be putting y'all in the spirit. For me, baby, it be taking me clean the hell out. I can't deal with them damn raw ass instruments and things they be playing, baby. It be too much going on. Okay? Now, T.D Jakes is stepping down. Now, this where ish about to get real thick at. Okay? Because in this case, it might. Hold on, let me put up my damn allegedly, baby. Because T.D Jakes, baby, you ain't about to give me that Dwayne Youngblood and Larry Reid live work, baby. That's what you not to do. Where my allegedly at? How doing? Y'all run them likes up. Let me find my allegedly at, baby. You was not about to give me that Dwayne Youngblood and Larry Reid live work, baby. It's what you're not about to do. Where is my allegedly? Where is my allegedly? Where is my? I don't even see my allegedly. I got it allegedly up in her somewhere. Okay, here it is, baby. Okay, all ish stated on this platform is alleged and intended to establish truth and provide any necessary damn judgment. Okay, now it's more than likely a lot of moving parts. It's going to be a lot of things that's possibly true in this situation. Okay, we got some members who conscious crew members, but they also attend the Potter's house, baby, and they're saying that this has been in the works for a long time. T.D Jakes has been talking about stepping down, preparing his step down, and it must be time for him to literally come down because the Holy Spirit damn near put him on his ass right there on the stage back in November. So it probably is more than likely time. Also, conveniently, he's actually choosing to step down, okay? Not just talk about it. He conveniently decides to step down amongst two incredible 2025 events in his life that are definitely going to impact him on one end or the back end. That is first and foremost the Diddy trial. Woo! You know, what's going to be the tea there? You know, the thing about it is, you know, they don't necessarily put depositions on the docket in these cases. Could T.D Jakes have sat down for a deposition in the Diddy trial, considering that he was Diddy's spiritual father? Will he possibly be a witness either for the defense or for Diddy? I mean, because he was once again Diddy's spiritual pappy. This would be sort of kind of good PR for Diddy to have someone of a conservative Christian background who can speak quote unquote well regarding, you know, his image, his behavior, etc. Those things might be bringing about stress that's contributing to Jake's health, and or Jake's know it's going to be a shit show. Even if he's not directly and intimately a part of the Diddy trial, it's going to be a shit show because it's been a shit show since Diddy has been indicted. You know, Jakes has been caught up in the vacuum of all of that. He's been residually hit to the point that he recently took some legal action against Google in order to get some intel regarding some of these AI-generated YouTube channels that have been putting out all of these AI images of him and Diddy, and that have been putting out all of these unsubstantiated claims that he's, you know, connected to the freak-offs, and he's walking around the freak-offs in an apron with a apple pie, serving niggas cake and pie, baby. Okay, cake and pie. Also, there's another event that is significant that will be taking place in Jake's life this year, which also would be the Dwayne Youngblood defamation suit. Okay, now what's fascinating about this timing and him making this announcement on this Sunday is we just did a Dwayne Youngblood and T.D Jakes update on what? Today is Sunday. We did that Friday, I believe. The judge denied Youngblood, who is the defendant in Jakes' defamation suit, who accused Jakes of attempting to sexually groom him back in the late 90s or 80s or whatever the hell it was. Now, in response to the lawsuit, Dwayne Youngblood attempted to submit a motion for anti-Slapp to have the lawsuit dismissed. Well, as of Friday, the judge denied the hell out of the anti-Slapp and told Dwayne Youngblood that he's not going to be paid in attorney fees, that him and his attorney did a piss poor, incompetent job on even defining anti-Slapp, and that a lot of the ish that they thought would get this case dismissed under the anti-Slapp statute in Pennsylvania doesn't even apply to federal law nor this case. So it's looking like this case so far is going to continue to move toward trial. Okay, so did Jakes' attorneys have a conversation with Jakes once the judge made his ruling in the defamation suit and say, look, Duane Anti-Slapp just got denied. More than likely, we're going to be greenlit forward to trial. And then Jakes brought in his PR, brought in his management, and they had a collective conversation to weigh the ins and outs of the way that first, this Diddy stuff is going to impact Jakes' public image as that's going down this year. And then the way that this trial from his own defamation suit against Youngblood is going to impact his public image, because we know, because we've been following the case, that this case has been a shit show as well, including the defamation case. If this thing is greenlit to trial, Jakes is going to have to relive all of the claims against Duane, which more than likely will start making headlines once the trial ensures. Blogs will be reporting on everything that's going on step by step. Duane is going to be, attempting to apply as much gas as he can, to get his ass a victory here. And we know that Duane has his brother, Richard Youngblood, on his side, who also submitted a sworn affidavit and claimed that he also had been came on to by Jakes in the late 80s when he was like a personal assistant for Jakes, and he woke up with Jakes' big Pentecostal penis lodged in between his ass cheeks while they shared a hotel room together. Okay? And that was a whole ordeal according to Richard Youngblood. So if this thing goes to trial, all of this is going to be up and out. I'm sure that Duane is going to have his brother testify, be a star witness, be a character witness. It's going to be a lot of salacious allegations. It's going to be a lot going on, and I'm not sure that Jakes is going to be able to keep the media in a chokehold, or whether these blogs are going to be attempting to get their goddamn click and a view off of the sensationalism that's going to come from the trial. Okay, so two major events happening this year in Jake's life that can and possibly have a negative impact on Jake's image, whether he's innocent or guilty in either one of these cases, the Diddy shit or his own personal defamation stuff. So I personally find the timing of this announcement to be ironic. And anything that's ironic typically means it's intentional. They're hardly, especially when you're talking about money, you're talking about power, you're talking about capitalism, and you're talking about self-preservation in terms of the quality of your brand. There's hardly anything that's happening naturally. Everything is coordinated. Everything is in the vein of pre-gaming. Everything. Now, there also isn't anything wrong with this. I'm not making an indictment against the bishop Because as a businessman who is the face of his church, he's the face of his brand, it absolutely makes sense for him to sit down with his PR team and figure out, rather attempting to be the face of the Potter's house is going to be within the best interest of the Potter's house as he deal with some of the major controversies that are going to come his way this year as a result of these two suits and trials. Okay, so this is Bitness one-on-one. It's not a bad thing if him and his team weighed it out and said, yeah, look, we think it'd be best for you to sit your ass down, get out the way, so that the Potter's house can kind of at least optically look like it's independent of you. And you play the background in order to curb some of this potential negative publicity that's going to be revved up again because Diddy going to trial this year. And then we got all this Youngblood defamation suit-ish going on as well. Now, there may be another contributing factor here. Here's the other alternative. There is going to be negative publicity regardless, because there are people who don't like Jakes. There are people who want Jakes to go down. There are people who feel that Jakes is guilty. So, of course, his name is going to come all back up and out in this Diddy crap and with this defamation suit with him and Youngblood. But, ironically, just like when he had his medical emergency last November, ironically, that medical emergency made it right into Jake's defamation suit, which was officially filed on that Monday. It was filed that next day. I mean, the lawyers were on it to include Jake's medical emergency, which had just been only 24 hours ago. And as I was saying then, it was very hard for me to accept that the quote-unquote medical emergency was even a genuine emergency, because the alley-oop and the convenience of the medical scare and then Jake's lawsuit being published that Monday and including the medical scare, once again, it was all too convenient. It was all too convenient. Fast forward, he's stepping down just 2 days after the judge rules that there's going to be a denial of the defendant's anti-Slapp statute. So what also could have happened is his attorney said, okay, we've already put the medical scare in the lawsuit because you're going to need to prove that you've actually been formally damaged by these claims. Okay? I know a lot of y'all think that you can just take people to court because they're talking shit. No, there has to be some other stipulating factors when it comes to a civil suit, a defamation suit in particular. Not only does the person have to have mastered in lies against you, you also need to have suffered in some tangible, objective way from that slander. Whether that be an impact to your business, which Jakes claims, he had some deals and some money-making opportunities that were happening amid the smear campaign against him from Dwayne Youngblood. And, there led to a temporary suspension. Also, he got to include the medical scare. There's been a direct impact to my health, my psychological, my physiological. Okay, this is where all the pain and suffering, punitive damages are going to come into play. He got to prove that there's been direct impact, a tangible, measurable injuries done to him because of the quote-unquote lies against him by Dwayne Youngblood. So, this could be, with this whole medical scare thing, it could be very well super manufactured. It doesn't mean that Jakes wasn't already dealing with some health issues, but he could be playing into the health issue narrative a little bit more now that the stakes are super high and he has a personal litigation that he's activated against Dwayne Youngblood because he needs to recoup in some way, shape, or form. And if not recoup financially, he needs to at least increase the odds of him winning this suit. And all of this play off of being sick and elderly and almost dying and being a God-fearing man and being a father to the Black community and to the nation all helps a jury to sympathize with Jakes, to identify with Jakes, and to find him as some unsuspecting victim of all of this craziness that he's been accused of for no God-given reason by Dwayne Youngblood. Okay? So I'm thinking his lawyers are like, look, yes, God, sit your ass down. It looked like this lawsuit more than likely is going to be greenlit. We're doing good so far. We're tearing Dwayne Youngblood ass up. The judge is judging. And so we need to continue to lean in. We need to continue to lean in to the sickliness of it all, baby. To the injury of it all, baby. Okay? He got to lean in now that they etching closer and closer and closer and closer and closer in this defamation suit. So I don't know what to think because it's so much going on around Jakes that it's hard to believe that some of this and most of this doesn't have to do with strategizing around the Diddy case and his own case. It is almost just practical. It's impossible for me to convince that this is all just genuine and it's all organic and it just happens to be so coincidental that all these factors are all playing out all at once. Okay? And I know how opportunistic and slick and clever lawyers are. So I can't imagine that his attorneys do not see all of the interest and opportunity. And especially what could be true about his pre-existing health issues. And just kind of revving up the drama a little bit more around that. Because if this Dwayne Youngblood defamation suit goes to trial, both Duane and Jakes will be subjected to their peers. They're going to be judged by their peers. Both of them have to do their fair share of playing the damn victim in order for them to get the best outcome for themselves. What's going on, Pam? Hey, boo. Listen to CTV, okay? Says the Esquire herself, you guys. Pam also did a breakdown. If y'all need a legal breakdown of the Anti-Slapp dismissed motion on Friday, y'all go over to Pam Esquire, the Law Intellect. Pam, I'm gonna call you back. I just said Friday. I said, Pam, if you out there, I'm gonna call you back this weekend. So I'm gonna call you before the night is out. Cause baby, the news done had me in a chokehold, and then my personal life got me in a chokehold. So baby, they've been turning me every which way but loose. So there's enough going on for everything that's going on with Jakes to definitely be strategy. And once again, a bunch of things can be true at once. It doesn't mean that Jakes ain't sick. It doesn't mean that he ain't have some health complications prior to the Duane stuff, prior to the Diddy stuff. I'm more so entertaining the thought of if things are being embellished for the sake of preparating for his defamation suit. Because I would not be surprised that if Jakes gets a win in his defamation suit against Duane, and he don't get chewed up too bad as Diddy is fighting for his life down there at Sing Sing. If Jakes, like most damn hip-hop rappers, turn around and ends right back up on that damn pulpit for good and come right up out of quote-unquote retirement. I wouldn't be surprised if his alley-oop back to being full-time at the Potter's house is gonna be justified on his legal wins and how God spoke to me as I sat in, the vindication, and as I sat in opposition of the enemy, and I just got a word from God that my time isn't up, okay? That I'm meant to endure this thing and to be y'all shepherd until the end. And God is going to give me the grace and the holy power. And baby, I would not be surprised, baby, if Jakes don't come with it, okay? I believe this is all strategy. And once again, I don't think it's per se a negative thing. I mean, this is all business. You do what you got to do for the sake of your brand, for the sake of your lawsuits. This is all business. So there's nothing wrong with Jakes doing what he got to do. But do I think everything that's taking place is taking place organically? Hell no. Everything, ironically, has been happening very close to this Dwayne Youngblood lawsuit. Once again, he fell sick right before his lawsuit was published. That whole melting down and downloading off the damn stool back last November. And then bloop, that Monday, that whole event is in your lawsuit, girl. And now you make your announcement 2 days after the judge denies Youngblood's anti-slapp. Come on, bruh. Baby, Jesus gave me eyes to see and ears to hear, baby. I be seeing, hearing, sugar. Okay? It's given too convenient. This is very transactional, and I can't unsee it. It's like watching a Final Destination sequence, but sitting behind the fourth wall and having and seeing the play-by-play, from the perspective of the spirit of death, honey, and how it's just strategically laying this thing out line by line, precept by precept, baby. Pam says, let these lawyers look, period. I like these type of legals, baby. This is good, solid lawyering. Jakes is getting his multi-million dollars worth out of his attorneys, and I am here for it. I don't know if y'all been keeping up, but y'all got to keep up with what's going on with Duane and T.D. Jakes, baby, because that thing been so messy. But the way that Jakes been swallowing up Dwayne Youngblood, baby, in Friday's dissertation to break down, I just found myself cringing for Tyrone Blackburn and found myself cringing for Dwayne Youngblood. Oh, matter of fact, Pam, while you here, I know you've been trying to give, Tyrone Blackburn a little leniency. I know you've been, trying to, just like, he young, he doing this thing. But as he's getting consistently swallowed up in these bike filings like this, what are your thoughts about Tyrone now, baby? Are you seeing the incompetency of it all? Are you seeing the raggediness of it all? Are you seeing the ambulance chasing of it all? Because Tyrone Blackburn is giving me the Negro version of Tony Busby. He's just the Negro version of Tony Busby to me. So I'm curious to know, Pam, what your updated review and thoughts and analysis of Tyrone Blackburn is, shy. Now, I want to segue a little bit here, okay? Because there's been a lot of conversation. Pam says, look, that's my peer. I don't need no smoke. I don't need to be wearing no bulletproof vest when I'm around my peers, baby. I don't need to be carrying my Glock 180, baby. I don't need them problems, child. Okay, she gonna plead the fifth. I think that speaks for itself, okay? Now, there's been all this conversation, y'all, around Jakes, particularly in this Dwayne Youngblood lawsuit. And if Jakes is guilty, a lot of y'all, as I'm seeing, well, not a lot, let me not say a lot of y'all, there's just some of y'all, okay, who want to see Jakes go down. Y'all believe that everything that glitters ain't gold, that there is definitely some type of corruption, some type of wickedness, some type of principality residing in a high place behind Jakes, that there's definitely been foul play. We know there's been a lot of allegations around Jakes, not just from Dwayne Youngblood, now also Richard Youngblood, Prophet Manasseh. We know things were kind of raggedy between Jakes and Carlton Pearson, Father Pearson, baby daddy, may he rest in peace. We also know that his daughter Cora, you know, there's been a situation between her and another young lady whose child she ran off with allegedly, baby. Okay, Cora was given very much so hand that rock the cradle, baby. Okay, just snatching babies right out of people's wombs and shit, girl. Going right up to the hospital ward, going to the newborn baby ward, and just carrying children directly out of the newborn baby ward of the damn hospital and things, baby. Okay, we know that Cora's husband also is currently in jail, you know, for allegedly, you know, assaulting a minor girl. You know, it's been claims that Jakes funded and used his connections, aka the judge, in Cora's husband's case to get some leniency, etc. Apparently, the judge and maybe some of the lawyers that were a part of that whole situation with Cora's husband are members of the Potter's house. So, you know, there's all these Christian mafia ties and shit going on, girl. I don't know who these niggas think they is, mob wives. Okay, so we know there's been claims that he unalived the personal assistant and dropped his ass out of the sky on a private jet. You know, it's just been one thing after the other. We've heard a lot of things about Jakes having extramarital affairs. Let me put my goddamn allegedly back up there, okay? Extra marital affairs with men, that he has a harem of boys and men. And we also have heard allegations that he paid off a family whose underage son at the time apparently was violated, allegedly. I know either last year or year before last, when the whole Christian Keys drama was happening and people were coming out against or speculating that Tyler Perry was one of the people that Christian Keys had to be talking about. And then also Jakes ended up kind of vacuumed into that as well. There were some people that came forward to my platform privately that also made some interesting claims against Jakes. They were actually going to come on the platform to talk about their alleged intimate relationshiping to Jakes, but they got scared and they backed down And I honored that, and I never put their identity or their stories out there. Also, there's been a conversation around Jakes paying people off. I know for a fact one person Jakes absolutely paid off $1 million+ to zip those lips. I'm not at liberty to state who that is, but I know for a fact there has definitely been at least one payout. Now, in this particular situation, it didn't involve no children, but it just involved a situation that Jakes just did not think would be becoming if it were made into public dialogue. So I don't know about all the other alleged situations that he quote unquote been writing checks to keep quiet, but there definitely is check writing taking place. There definitely is moolah going out in order to keep the kingdom Bitness, the king's Bitness, on the hush hush. And the sad part about it is a lot of these transactions are taking place amongst notable religious people. So you have other Christian leaders who are helping to keep someone who's being accused of various crimes against humanity from accountability because money walks and bullshit talks, baby. It's been a sad, sad reality to know how much money truly rules this world. From the government to the church house to your mama's house, baby. Everybody willing to sell their damn souls, and everybody practically has a price tag. I don't give a damn what they say out of their mouth or how much they sound like they mean it. Ain't no integrity hardly anywhere, baby. We living in Sodom and Gomorrah. There ain't even 10 righteous men in Sodom. There ain't even 5 righteous men in Sodom, baby. Baby, everybody got a price tag hanging out they busted crack. Now, here's the thing. Is Jakes truly guilty of some heinous ish? Like I said, some of y'all believe that. Some of y'all believe, hey, Jakes' time gonna come. He ain't righteous. He blah 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 blah. Here's the gag. Maybe Jakes ain't righteous. Even in the situation that I'm talking about, where the check cleared, that's even a very nuanced situation. Because I don't even know if Jakes is per se even wrong in that situation, because did he have an arrangement? Do him and his wife have an understanding? I don't know. We don't know them people like that. But I do know the situation in and of itself does look much crazy. So I can see why the check had to be written. But has Jakes done anything criminal? Have Jakes violated people? Because having an affair is a argument of morality and ethics, not per se criminal. Getting bust down at the Diddy party wearing nothing but an apron and serving apple pie ain't per se criminal, as long as everything was consenting and everybody was of age. Is it a moral or an ethical argument? Sure. You can make a moral argument against that behavior as a married man who's also representing Christianity in the Bible. But hell, even that means something completely different to different people. If Jakes has done anything that is truly evil, truly wicked, it's going to take fact. People's personal feelings don't make Jake wrong. Allegations in and of themselves aren't per se fact. So it can be speculated and said that Jakes ain't no good. It can be speculated and said that Jakes do this and Jakes do that allegedly. But until there's some fundamental empirical truth and fact to support any of these claims, Jakes ultimately ain't going no damn well. And as we can see, even from the Dwayne Youngblood lawsuit with Jakes, that all of these people we were told in the beginning that were going to come forward, all these folk who was going to join ranks with Dwayne Youngblood, all these folk who would come out of hiding, how Jakes was going to be going up against a tsunami and an army, all these things that we were told by Duane himself in the lawsuit, all these things we were told by Larry, that there was going to be this army of opposition against Duane. And then all Duane had, when it came time to show and tell in this litigation, was a bunch of sworn affidavits by other registered sex offenders. Nobody aside from his brother, which also could be argued to obviously be biased and prejudiced in the case because, quote unquote, it's his brother who being sued. He could manufacture, his own allegations out of loyalty to his brother who being sued. But outside of Richard Youngblood, everybody else were other registered ex-offenders who had no intimate knowledge of the claims that Youngblood were making against Jakes. All they could testify to was the fact that he allegedly confided in them. And then even that was damn debunked because the dates they provided, the other registered sex offenders he had standing up for himself as a registered sex offender, were also in prison doing time at the time. They were not home in Miami eating breakfast like they claimed when Youngblood confided in them. They were not on the rooftop of Macy's having brunch like they claimed when Dwayne Youngblood confided in them. All their asses was in prison for violating minors. They were not where they claimed they were, and public record proved that. And they had no direct intimate witnessing to the shenanigans between T.D. Jakes and Youngblood. So right now, T.D. Jakes is winning in the case of reclaiming his reputation, reclaiming his public image, and it's becoming more and more clear through this lawsuit why T.D. Jakes sued to begin with. Because this was his opportunity to test and try all the people who've been alleging this and alleging that and revving up allegations under his name. And now he's giving everybody the opportunity to see him about that shit. And he don't want nobody ass running. He don't want nobody ass running. Jakes want all the motherfucking smoke. And he is chopping and serving and serving and chopping right now. Now, this also is a lawsuit. There's a lot that's got to play out. So Jakes could easily be winning now, but ultimately lose in the end. Okay, so we got to go victory. We got to go per win, because you never really know how gonna turn out when it comes to criminal suits or when it comes to civil suits. Okay, but right now in this moment, Jakeson had two major legal victories. He exposed the out of lying ass Tyrone Blackburn, lying ass Dwayne Youngblood, and all of their lying ass minions who also are other criminals and convicts and ex-offenders. And Dwayne Youngblood Anti-Slapp just got dismissed like a mother. Now, with all that said, if you are a fact-based person, if you are a person who attempts to be non-biased, oh yes, God. You got to think about what that then means. That there keep being a lot of rah-rah, hoo-ha, but ain't nobody got no real tea on Jakes. Ain't nobody presented no real tea on Jakes. And because Jakes is a prolific, international, hyper-visible public figure, it's going to take facts in order to bring a man at this level of fame and a man who has this level of relationship to the global stage. It ain't going to be your whispering and your alleged sources, baby, there ain't going to be enough. Somebody going to have to come with some real ass smoke in order to banana peel T.D. Jakes. Now, people can also speculate if nobody is coming out because a whole lot of checks are being passed around. Jakes got his holes in a place. Jakes got his alleged crimes, under wraps, because once again, money talking bullshit walks. And we know that money talks even when people have been seriously victimized. As we can see, a lot of these alleged accusers of, various celebrities and public figures, they more so take the civil route than they do the criminal route. It's looking like when it comes to wealthy alleged victimizers, that people who've been victimized would also prefer the check than to see your mother in prison. That's a fair argument. That possibly, maybe, in fact, there ain't been nobody coming out because the checks keep clearing. Or Jakes has just ended up on the end of baseless allegations, like most public figures do at some point. At some point, most public figures are going to be subjected to conjecture. They're going to be subjected to slander. They're going to be subjected to, the rumor milling. It's going to happen to the best of them. There's almost no public figure who has gone unscathed. Everybody from Michelle and Obama to Oprah to Beyonce, Jay-Z to Jesus himself, baby, done ended up subjected to the witch hunt. So if Jakes is guilty, the only people that are going to have the authority to try him on those things are going to be the actual courts. And they're going to require some actual facts. it's not going to be enough to claim this and to claim that. The courts can do very little with claims simply. So, I just wanted to come through and talk about that, girl. Is it strategy that Jakes is stepping down? It's mighty convenient because he just got this major legal win. Is him and his team playing into the damsel in distress? They about to get really focused on the rest of this year. There's about to be a bunch of negative Diddy publicity on Jakes. Could he possibly have sat down for a deposition? Will he possibly be a star witness? Are these things stressing him out? Are these things going to impact his public image? He's got a defamation suit that seemingly appears to be on the way to a jury trial. Will these things impact his business? He's trying to preserve the Potter's house by stepping the hell down temporarily so that there can be as much avoidance of personal injury to his church, his bread and his butter. Is Jakes all beat down and broken down because, baby, them freak-offs done wore his big back ass out, baby? Huh? Could the bones and everything be melting down, baby, because he done been on too many damn swings, too many sliding boards, baby? Diddy and them big, burly, aggressive homosexuals at them freak-off parties done turned Jakes' ass every which way but loose, baby. Now he needs a real scoot. Okay, what's the tea, baby? We may find out that what don't come out in the wash might, in fact, come out in the rinse. Who the hell knows? But you know who gonna keep you locked and damn loaded? It's gonna be the CTV, baby. Okay, I'm gonna keep you informed every which way, girl. I'm gonna give you thorough conspiracy, thorough alternative, baby. We're going to entertain it all, the guiltiness of it all, the innocence of it all, the middle ground of it all, baby. The pendulum just gonna swing and swing and swing and swing. But I gotta get out of here. Make sure you guys check out my review for the Jamal Bryant and Kim Burrell conversation that just took place a few days ago. Please thumb it up, share, subscribe if you're new here. If you enjoyed yourself, donate to the platform $Consciouztv on Cash App and or PayPal.me/ConsciouzTV, spelled just how it is here on the platform. And let me know what the hell your thoughts are in the comment section. I will see you guys later. Peace.